Good morning. Welcome into Breaking Bet here on this Sunday, November 30th. December is kicking down our goddamn door. And my boy Brad Thomas is MIA. Probably had an awesome weekend, but I got a great guest here with me. This is my guy, Sia Nejad. Did some work with him down in D.C. Sia, happy Thanksgiving, my man. Thank you so much for taking the time today.
Johnny V, man, I miss you. I'm so glad I get to jump in for Brad Thomas, who I also did some work with, as you know, Johnny, with me and Meg on that. What was it? How am I forgetting the name of my show already?
But
on Monumental Sports Network, obviously. But yeah, man, you said we're knocking down the door of December. I mean, I can't believe we're already here. And I know we have a lot to talk about, so we don't need to reminisce about the last 13 weeks necessarily. But I can't believe we're on the back end of this football season.
I know, man. It goes way too quick. I mean, we're sitting here almost in December. We're in crunch time. These teams are in full home stretch, getting ready to make a run for the playoffs or the divisions. In some cases, the number one seed and that coveted bye. But before we get in here to the Sunday/Monday slate, Sia, what were your thoughts on Thanksgiving Day and Black Friday? I haven't kept track of it. Underdogs not only covered in all four games, but they won outright, including a couple of 7-point dogs. What were your thoughts on Thanksgiving and Black Friday?
The first thoughts that come to mind are, first of all, let's start with Black Friday. I mean, the Eagles look very broken. I mean, just emotionally and mechanically, everything about the Eagles looks completely broken. Backtrack to Thursday. I'm not surprised that the Cowboys beat the Chiefs. I mean, when that line was 3.5, I was thinking, oh, I'm definitely taking the Cowboys. Then it moved to 3, and I decided to back off. But I'm not surprised at all that the Cowboys won outright. I'm also not surprised the Packers won, but I actually expected, if you had told me you get the Lions get 10 cracks at this, I would have thought they'd won 7 out of the 10, because I just feel like the Lions at home, coming off some substandard games, I just would have thought they would have had that Detroit Lions game where they just turn it on and Goff looks great. So I was a little surprised by that. I mean, I probably shouldn't have been, but I was a little surprised by that. And then finally, the night game. I mean, I'm the guy, you might not have seen this, Johnny, but 2 weeks ago, I was like, Lamar Jackson is 80-1 to win the MVP. They're going to rattle off so many wins in a row. He's going to have a primetime game on Thanksgiving night against the Bengals, a terrible defense, and he's going to flash. He's going to go for 3 touchdowns, and he's going to run for 1. And all of a sudden, 80-1 is going to be 20-1, and then he's still got to play Drake May. He could beat him at home. There were so many and now I'm like, oh, I look stupid now because Lamar Jackson just looks awful. Granted, I will say this. Isaiah Likely, if he carries that into the end zone for a touchdown, maybe it's a different story. If they don't call pass interference on Zay Flowers, which I thought was a super weird call, I mean, that was crazy. So there was a path for Lamar to have 2 or 3 touchdown passes and for the Ravens to win that game kind of easily. It just didn't work out that way.
That was terrible. I took a long shot dumb tutty parlay. It's funny. I had Likely to score. So I'm like, okay, of course, right? Yeah. I had Mike Gesicki. I was like, oh, let's go way down the tight end board for Cincinnati. And of course, it was Tanner Allen or Tanner Hudson?
It was Tanner Hudson. It was Tanner Hudson, yeah.
So the 4th-string tight end scores, but Gesicki drops the touchdown, goes right through his hands when the Ravens got that big or the Bengals got that big first turnover. Jamar Chase didn't end up scoring, but I was like, of course, these two. Couldn't bring it home. But I gotta say, for my perspective, I think the 2 teams that disappointed me the most were definitely the Lions. The Lions just got embarrassed. I mean, we're talking Dontavian Wicks, who hasn't done anything in his life remotely in the NFL. He had one good game 3 years ago or 2 years ago, and then he has a legacy game. He goes almost 100 yards, 2 scores, game-winning catch to seal it. And they had no answer for Dontavian Wicks. Josh Jacobs, after really the first quarter, he didn't get many carries. I don't really know what's going on with the Lions. I was disappointed. I thought Detroit was going to come out and really just go balls to the wall. They escaped a close one against the Giants last week. They haven't looked good. And I'm like, you know what? Thanksgiving, their day at home, big spot to really get back on the right and honestly get some revenge after Green Bay destroyed them in week 1. So I was really disappointed by the Lions. I'm over this Dan Campbell shtick. I think he's a good coach. I think he's a great motivator, but it's to the point where I'm really questioning if Dan Campbell's the right guy to get it done for Detroit in terms of winning the Super Bowl. I felt their shot was last year and they missed it. I'm not saying their window's closed, but you lose Ben Johnson. And listen, there's been a lot of games where Detroit's putting up 35, 40, even 50 points where it's like, hey, you know what? They don't need Ben Johnson. But then you get these games where there's just too many lulls and too many gaps where they're just not fluid and not consistent. I understand losing Amon-Ra, 3 plays in changes your whole game script because you didn't prepare for him to not be out there.
Right.
Defense has been a mess. It's been a disaster. And last year they played a lot better and they had a ton of injuries. And this year they just can't find a way to do it. So Lions are definitely up there for disappointment. And I think the next one's got to be the Eagles. 7 points at home. You blow a 21-point lead to Dallas on the road last week. This is your time to come home, get that bad taste out of your mouth, and go pedal to the metal on the Bears, and you get embarrassed. They gave up over 250 yards on the ground.
That was the worst part. I mean, DeAndre Swift, I think DeAndre Swift is a fine running back, but the holes he was running through early in that game, it's not like the defense was like gassed and it was the fourth quarter and then like DeAndre Swift, like some of these holes were just so huge. Anybody could have run through them. And the fact that the Eagles front 4, front 7, which is supposed to be a strong suit of this team, I mean, the whole defense is supposed to be, but they got pushed around. I mean, this Bears run, like, I mean, I don't know whether to take the Bears seriously or not because I don't really believe in Caleb Williams. But even if you don't believe in Caleb Williams and you think, okay, I just need Caleb to be average, which he certainly can be. The offensive line is getting pushed. The defense, in spite of all their injuries, looks pretty good. I mean, this team, the skill positions are in good shape and healthy for the Bears. I mean, this is not a great team by any means, but it's a team that can, I think, beat anybody on the right day.
Yeah, I mean, they have these moments where they're just going nuts. And if you're able to run the ball like that, you just need Caleb Williams to be average at best. But the 2 games, I guess, let's start with Baltimore. I liked Cincinnati getting 7. I thought it was a sucker play to take Baltimore. I know a lot of people like the Ravens. This is, hey, they've been historically good the last couple of years against Cincinnati, but I felt there's too many factors. Joe Burrow coming back, even with T. Higgins out, you get Burrow Chase back in the mix. Like that's a big amped up spot for the Bengals. You just felt like they were going to get up for Burrow coming back and against the Ravens here. So I thought 7 was too many, even on the road. And I felt like it was one of those spots where Cincinnati's defense has been so bad this year, and that's where everybody's like, the Ravens are going to run all over them, and Lamar's going to have a signature game. And I just feel like sometimes those things are just such traps, in my opinion. Like when I try to process internally, I'm like, everybody's going against the Bengals defense here because they've been so bad. But is there a shot that they are just halfway decent? Granted, look, I don't really understand the Ravens formula at all. I mean, Derrick Henry was running right through them. I don't even think he got a snap in the second or the fourth quarter. Just not really sure what was going on there. And I guess for Dallas, when we did our show, when I did my show with Brad on Wednesday, it was 3.5. And I'm like, I think Kansas City's going to win. I don't know if I love the 3.5 here.
Right.
I was more on the Rashee Rice catches and touchdown train, which hit. But I'm like, listen, maybe if it gets to a flat 3, I'll take KC. But yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm surprised. Dallas is playing with a lot of juice right now. Their defense has looked a lot better in recent weeks. The Quinn Williams trade was gigantic for them. And, you got to give credit to Dallas here. But we're getting into the thick of it, Sia. And while the Thanksgiving Day slate provided a lot of entertainment, I'm not as jazzed about today's board. But nevertheless, we got to do it, man. We got to get after it. So
I mean, all the superstars were on Thursday and Friday, specifically Thursday. I mean, if you're talking about like superstar quarterbacks and high totals and things of that nature, I mean, Johnny, do you do DFS like most people, or you're not really? You're just doing props and lines and whatnot.
I probably stopped doing DFS like 10 years ago.
Oh,
I should, honestly. It'd probably be more fun than doing what I'm doing. DFS is a little. Yeah, I always felt like DFS is one of those things that's really hard to win if you're not throwing like 10, 15 entries in there on a single contest. Or at least
So
that's
it
how
depends. It depends because there's single entry contests you can do that are relatively small. Like there's all kinds of different contests with different types of numbers of entrants. But I only bring it up because I do a DFS show, and when we were doing that show, we noticed that all the totals, for the most part, were in like the low 40s, or even like high 30s, mid 40s at most. And normally you get a couple of games that are in the mid 50s or at least low 50s, like a handful in the high 40s. So yeah, and this is not going to be a high scoring slate by any means.
Probably not. We're dealing with some weather too. There's the East Coast is getting hit with a lot of rain, wind, and in some cases snow as well. So that actually is interesting because it doesn't seem like the weather is going to be as bad here as it is in other places. But I'm curious your thoughts. Rams, hottest team in the NFL right now, traveling east to Carolina, a fake good team. Getting 10.5 points at home. Big Daddy Stafford is on an absolute heater right now. MVP favorite by a healthy margin over Drake May. The Rams look like the best team in the NFL with Seattle, right behind them. And you could throw in maybe New England. You could throw in a couple other teams that are lurking in the shadows there. But Sia, what's your thoughts here on Rams laying 10.5 traveling cross country to Carolina?
So I only have right now. So I have a lot of picks that we're going to talk about this show, but the first pick I put in, which would have been on Tuesday, was actually the Rams -10. There was still DraftKings was still hanging a 10. I think DraftKings might still have it at a 10, but it's 10.5 in most places. Obviously, I like the 10 better than the 10.5, but I really like the Rams to run away here. The only thing that would scare me a little bit, I mean, out of division, a bit of a letdown spot after the last couple of games for the Rams. And like you said, West Coast team traveling for an East Coast game. And it's, of course, at 1:00. Like all of those things I think matter. But when you're in a different hemisphere as the other team, I don't think it matters quite as much. I think you could make this line 12.5 or even 13. And I wouldn't be super intimidated by it because I don't know what the Carolina Panthers are going to do to score against this defense. I mean, we can talk about the offense all we want and how dynamic Sean McVay and Matt Stafford are and the fact that he's healthy. He's got healthy players at pretty much every position. But how does Carolina score? I understand they're at home and we've seen Bryce Young flash, but against this defense, the rush defense is great. Carolina's not running the ball very well. The pass defense is great. And by the way, Bryce Young is the quarterback for Carolina. Skill positions aren't very good outside of Ted McMillan. Like, how many points do we see from the Carolina Panthers? 13? I mean, and then how many do we see from the Rams? I feel like we're looking at a 27-10 game. So I love the Rams here.
So just for reference, I know you're new to Breaking Bet. I keep all the lines uniform on one book. This is everything you see here is on FanDuel. So as always, it advises to shop around. So you are correct. The Rams are a flat 10 at DK. So obviously, if you like the Rams, you go on DK, you lose the hook there. But I'm in agreement. There's a lot of teams that just for whatever reason cannot get up for these cross-country travel spots. There's a lot of teams that just don't prepare right. It feels like they just can't get off the bus, whatever the case may be. Sean McVay's Rams are not one of those teams.
Right.
Sean McVay is one of these coaches since he became the head skipper of the Rams that he knows how to have his team prepared and get up for these spots. So this isn't, to me, as intimidating as it might be for a different spot. Say, same team in town, the Chargers. Even though Jim Harbaugh, obviously, was a great coach for the 49ers. But Sean McVay always has his team prepared. And I understand that there is perhaps something of a letdown spot due for the Rams, just the way they've been on fire. But to your point, other than maybe some self-inflicted mistakes, I don't really know what Carolina is going to be able to do here. Matthew Stafford's on a different playing field right now. He's got Puka, he's got Devontae, Kyron, he's got the weapons on offense. Their defense is playing really well. I do have questions about this Rams secondary, but their front seven, they can absolutely get after the passer. A lot of pressure on Bryce Young. Ted McMillan's the truth, bro. I love Ted McMillan. I think he's going to be a superstar. But when you have a quarterback that struggles to consistently get him the ball, that's an issue, obviously. And Rico Dowdle has been great. Granted, I think even though he's been better than Chuba Hubbard, a lot of those earlier in the season were butter matchups that he was taking advantage of. Now, I'm in total agreement. I like the Rams here. It's probably one of my favorite plays of the day, laying 10 flat if you're doing it on DK, because the Rams are also not one of these teams that takes their foot off the gas. You have a handful of these groups in the NFL that they'll get up big and then they'll coast, and then they'll try to just run the clock out and they'll get conservative. That's not what Sean McVay's team does. They go for the kill. And when you have Matthew Stafford, who is playing lights out, that's what you're going to get. So I like the Rams here on the road. I think Stafford's good for a couple pass touchdowns. I think Devontae Adams is live to score. Puka is live for a big game. So this could be one-way traffic. Maybe the weather takes a turn. It's a little harsher conditions. But other than that, I just – look, man, I don't think Carolina is as good as their record indicates. They've definitely had some growth from last year. But game-to-game consistency-wise – I just don't know if Carolina's going to be able to hang with the Rams in this one.
Yeah, one last note here that I forgot to bring up. You talk about the passing game for the Rams. I mean, we've got an extra injury in the Carolina secondary and a suspension. So, I mean, you don't think Sean McVay is going to look at that and be like, he's already, pass hungry with Matt Stafford. I mean, how much are they going to be taking advantage of the mismatches in the secondary? I just, because as we're doing this, I'm looking at Matt Stafford's touchdown passes prop. And of course, he's one of the few quarterbacks that has 2.5 instead of 1.5 touchdowns. Yeah. The 2.5 is plus at FanDuel, it's plus 144, which is one of the better numbers.
I was going to bring that up to you. Do you feel like the game script could get out of control where he's not going to get 3 touchdowns? I mean, because the Rams are one of the few teams that you're first and goal from the 1. They prefer to pass it.
Yeah, I don't mind it at plus like 140 north. I don't think I would actually. I mean, I might bet it for fun, but like I don't think that would be like a classic official play for me. What I would consider is an alt line where you're getting this at like 2.5 and then throwing the over 1.5 touchdowns just to see what that would pay. Because if you play the over 1.5 touchdowns and the alt line of, let's say, 2.5, just to really get it down there, you might get something close to minus 115, minus 120. I think that would be something I'd be willing to speculate on a little bit.
Yeah. Definitely not looking to throw Stafford as a parlay piece for 3 touchdowns.
Right.
Something plus 144, that's hard to pass up, especially the fact that both he and McVay know he's got a legitimate shot to win the MVP this year. And the more touchdowns he throws, it's, they want to do what they can to bolster his case. Stafford has accomplished pretty much everything, but he hasn't gotten that MVP, and he really wants it right now.
And honestly, it's not going to take much for him to solidify it. And so you always worry about anybody getting an injury or Matt Stafford's back flaring up or something. If he has another 2 or 3 games where he just dominates and then has to sit out a game for whatever reason, like late in the season, or maybe even 2 games, he might be able to seal it up by week 15, week 16 before we get into the last 2 weeks. So it's games like this where you could flash on the road with 4 touchdowns and be like, all right, it has to be Matt Stafford.
The only way at this point, the Stafford MVP train's interesting because I think the only thing that derails him, short of an injury, knock wood, is if the Seahawks win the division. They're right there. They have another game. They have a game coming up the 3rd to last week. And as you know, typically, like historically, the quarterbacks that win the MVP are in the 1 or 2 seed. And if Seattle wins the division, the Rams at best are a 5 seed. So then that throws a wrinkle into it and then could open up for Drake May or even somebody else.
Well, that game is at Seattle too, the one you're referring to. So this is part of my Lamar Jackson argument at 80-1, which of course is dead now. But they have to play, the Rams have to play Detroit at home, and then they have to go to Seattle, and that's a prime time game. So if Stafford struggles at Seattle and Seattle wins that game and wins the division, it could look pretty bad for Stafford tickets.
Yeah, that's the only way that I think that really gets derailed in a realistic fashion. But see, I'm going to tell you a guy I really like coming into the year for an MVP ticket. I had him, when he was on fire, and team was just falling off. It's Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
It looks like he's good to go today at home against the Arizona Cardinals. So on Wednesday, and I like to do this for anybody that's just fresh to tuning into the show. Brad and I do a show midweek. We get the early look at the lines, give our opinions, and then maybe Sunday things change, and a lot of times we see the lines move. So this was 2.5 earlier in the week, And my thought was, hey, Baker Mayfield's 50-50. But if he gets ruled in, it's probably going to cross 3, which it looks like that's the case right now.
Yep.
So do you think Baker Mayfield coming back, who had a non-throwing shoulder injury against the Rams, do you think if he's good to go, which looks like he probably is, you think laying 3.5 is fair with them, or do you think Arizona makes a trip to the East Coast and is able to at least keep this one close?
If Baker plays all 4 quarters, I love the 3.5. I think this is a great bounce back spot for the Bucs, and I think Arizona has enough. I like Jacoby Brissett, by the way. They're getting Marvin Harrison back, all of those things, but I don't think he's going to have a super easy time, especially with the lack of a running game, moving the ball consistently. So I like laying the 3.5, but the reason I'm not willing to do it is because if Baker takes a hit, which if you're Arizona, you're attacking Baker and just trying to maybe get him out of the game, because what you do know is that if Teddy Bridgewater enters the game, that offense is a nothing. Done. So I like the Bucs laying the 3.5, but I'm not willing to take it because we know what Baker Mayfield does. He is going to try to play through injury for 2 reasons. One is because he's Baker Mayfield. We saw it with Cleveland early in his career. The other is he knows just as well as anybody that Teddy Bridgewater is not ready to play quarterback in the NFL, and his career is probably over as far as it relates to being a good quarterback. So if you're Baker, you're playing through the injury. If you take the wrong hit, then, you're out of the game most likely. So not willing to lay it, but I do lean Tampa.
Let me ask you something. I don't I don't often do these. I'm not really huge on these props very often, but if I'm not mistaken, there is a Calais Campbell incentive coming up here for sacks. I think he is 2 sacks away from a $500K bonus. You're able to get Calais Campbell today at plus 270 to get a sack. Any interest? The way this offense has been?
I typically, so the answer is no, but I also don't study defensive props as much as most. I mean, I would say this: if you're Tampa, you're designing these offense, and it's Baker, he's going to run around, but you're designing these plays to get the ball out as fast as possible because you don't want Baker to take a hit. So, I mean, plus 270 sounds like a great number. So I'm okay with it, but I wouldn't say one way or the other whether I liked it or not.
Yeah, maybe just thinking out loud, something maybe to sprinkle on here. I feel like Calais Campbell still, got 5.5 sacks. I mean, still doing it at what is he, 40? Up there.
Yeah.
Bucky Irving is back in this one. Look, man, I'd probably be more inclined to live bet this game. I don't love it because Arizona is typically not the same team on the road as they are at home. It's a team that can't finish a game. Jacoby Brissett is one of my fantasy quarterback. He's been one of the best fantasy-wise. Marvin Harrison coming back's nice. Trey McBride should be able to continue to do what he's been doing. I mean, look, I think if Baker Mayfield, in theory, is fully healthy and he doesn't get hurt mid-game, I feel like this is a spot Tampa should win and cover. They've been reeling ever since that Detroit spot.
Yeah. But,
I mean, like I said, I think I'd be more inclined to live bet this bad boy here. But that Baker Mayfield MVP thing, that really that really stung because that was looking really good too.
It was. Well, to be honest, what I think threw him off was the oblique injury that was really underreported and just not talked about. And that's when, what's up, Brad? That's when he stopped scrambling and all those things too. So I think it really was more injury related than anything else. I thought that was a really sharp play. I mean, I know somebody else who had that MVP ticket and it was looking good after 4 or 5 weeks for sure.
Yeah. I had 22 to 1. I grabbed and just not to be, unfortunately. But Sia, let's go down to Tennessee. This is weird. So far, obviously, we've seen all the underdogs winning outright or covering. And this on Wednesday, again, shout out to my guy Brad. We're talking about this line. It was 6.5. It's tightened up. I honestly lean the Titans. I'm not a believer of the Jags. I know they're 7 wins. I know playoffs are in their sights and everything. I'm not convinced by this Jaguars team. And I understand Tennessee. I liked Tennessee this year coming in. I thought they were going to be really good. I thought Cam Ward was going to be offensive rookie of the year and all this stuff, but obviously it didn't work out like that. But nevertheless, there's been a lot of these moments where Tennessee, despite being bad, they're competitive. Saw it last week in Seattle. I mean, I had Seattle last week. They were covering that game, Tennessee with the ultimate backdoor touchdown. But Cam Ward, man, he's a gamer. I know a lot of people are giving him shit, but this is gonna be a special quarterback. I think 5.5 at home, down from 6.5. I might be leaning the Titans. I don't know if I'm gonna make an official play, but what about you?
I like the Titans a lot. Okay, so there's so many things I have to say about this game. First of all, I loved this when it was 6.5, and I was actually hopeful that there would be enough Jacksonville love that maybe it would tick up to 7. Obviously, that was wishful thinking because now it's gone down to 5.5. I still like it at 5.5. Division game. I will tell you this about the Titans. Not only was I on their win total, and I'm not trying to throw this in your face. Not only was I on their win total under, I was on their alt win total under because you can like Cam Ward all you want. The supporting cast was brutal. The defense wasn't very good. It wasn't very improved from last year. And again, we have to look at these improvements relative to all the other teams improving in the offseason. And the offensive weapons, I mean, this is your quarterback of the future, and you're giving him like Calvin Ridley's your best guy. You got Tony Pollard back there, which is decent, maybe a decent offensive line. But Cam Ward was never going to be successful with this supporting cast. With all that said, Trevor Lawrence, if anybody who watches me and listens to me dating back to when Trevor Lawrence was coming out of Clemson, the most overrated prospect I think I've ever seen. I've been on the just say no to Trevor Lawrence campaign for quite some time, and he's going on the road in Tennessee, division game. Tennessee's been playing. They've been a little, to your point, against Seattle. I mean, Seattle kind of dominated them on the stat board, but Tennessee is going to play games tough. I think this is actually like a pretty big game for them. I think the defense is going to show up. It's been decent since Jeffrey Simmons has been back. I think Tennessee could outright win this game, but I'm definitely going to take the 5.5 points.
Yeah, Tennessee. If I'm playing a side here, it's going to be the Titans. Props wise, anything interesting? Maybe a little Travis Etienne. You got Brian Thomas back. I saw something on Twitter, and sometimes I see something. I'm like, hey, you know what? Whatever. I feel like sometimes I'll see some of these dumb parlays. I'm like, let me throw a little sprinkle on it. Somebody had a Tim Patrick touchdown. Tim Patrick parlayed with Josh Allen 2 rush tutties. Or 2.
That's so random.
So random. It's going to hit too. Watch. It's going to hit.
Yeah, probably. If I was going to take any props in this one, and this is one I might make official like right after this show, Chimere DK, FanDuel actually has the best line on him with receiving yards. It's 32.5. I think that's too low. I mean, if you think Cam Ward's going to have to throw I think he's going to have to throw for 2 reasons. Even if in a neutral game script, you're not going to really run the ball against Jacksonville, especially with this running game. I think Cam Ward's going to have to pass the ball around a little bit. And Io Manor's got the 37.5 receiving yards total. You got Chig in there, but I think DK is the guy that can really explode. So 32.5 receiving yards, I think is way too low. I'm probably going to make that an official play.
Yeah, I think DK is pretty solid there. He's been a game breaker for them. All-purpose yards with the punt returns. He's been pretty good. Any love on Travis Etienne, 63.5?
Not really. I think it's fine, but I still am not 100% sold on who's getting all of the carries, the rushing attempts, because I know Tootin's taking a back seat, but there are some games where he plays a decent amount. So I'm going to be out on that. I think both teams' rush defenses are going to be kind of decent in this game.
See, how long have we known each other?
At least 3 years.
At least 3 years.
Yeah.
Then tell me what's this? What's significant about this? What is it?
Oh, the 5.5.
What's it called?
Oh my gosh. It's
Come on, you know it.
It's like the Johnny V, there's some sort of
It is, but there's a specific name for this.
I forgot. You'll have to remind me.
All right. There's nobody in the betting world, and I mean nobody, that will give you this. This is a cash cow. This is a cash cow. If you ever hear it from somebody else, it's because they got it from me.
That's true.
This is the Royal Mint.
That's it.
And I named it the Royal Mint years ago because it's an ATM. It's like printing money. And I thought the name was better than the U.S. printing press. But nevertheless, Road Dogs closing at exactly 5 or 5.5. They have to close at 5 or 5.5, mind you. New Orleans here at Miami, down here in South Florida. If the game wasn't an absolute disaster, I might think about going with the NFL slate we have this week. But nevertheless, New Orleans was a 5.5 spot at Carolina a few weeks ago, and they won outright. If you go back 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 10 years, these underdogs in this spot are covering 60+% of the time, and they're winning outright in over 40%, which doesn't seem like a lot, but they're 200 plus 200 or bigger, so the units are skyrocketing. Now, listen, it's not a guarantee. Obviously, Cincinnati was a royal mint spot against Pittsburgh, and Joe Flacco completely unraveled. But I think New Orleans, just off principle, I'm going to take them at 5.5 because there's almost never a time where I pass up the spot. I think the only time I passed the spot up was like 3 years ago when the Colts were going at the Patriots and they're starting Sam Ellinger, and I like the Bill Belichick against rookie quarterback trend a little bit better. But I think I'd lean New Orleans here. Like, we've seen this from the Saints. They're not a good team, but they're competitive. They play hard. And look, man, I understand Miami's got more individual talent, but I don't think they should be pretty much a 6-point favorite against anybody right now.
Yeah, I think that's really the best argument is why are they 6.5-point favorites? And by the way, I'm looking down at my phone. I just want to see if we have news on Chris Olave because I think that's important. But it does look like he's expected to play as of a couple of hours ago. I think that's important because they keep losing weapons, right? I mean, the quarterback situation is kind of weird, but losing Alvin Kamara, which might not be that big of a deal. I think we might see some Taysom Hill in this game. We saw some Taysom Hill last game. I'm not willing to lay the 5.5, but I'm also not willing to take I forgot about the Royal Mint. So if anything, I would take the Saints plus 5.5. I do think Miami has some momentum coming up. They had the off week and then they beat Washington in a game they should have lost. And now suddenly, instead of being embarrassing, they're kind of irrelevant they're kind of relevant when you look at the playoff picture. Not that they're actually going to make the playoffs, but this is the first time Miami's had some momentum. They're at home. And New Orleans might be, they're down a couple of weapons. I could see the Dolphins covering, but I'm not willing to play this one.
I'll probably make an official play. It's gross. It's a hold your nose, but this is like
you're on the right side.
This is like roulette. This is like roulette. In roulette, in theory, you're supposed to stick to one color. At least that's how I do it. Like, it's black or red. I always play black. So this is black. I'm always sticking to black, and that's the New Orleans Saints at plus 5.5.
I get it.
I don't flip-flop between black and red.
Mm-hmm.
Any interesting touchdown props? Like Taysom Hill you're talking about. Probably get an extended workload. It's going to be Devin Neal today. I mean, he's plus 280, but Hill's actually the favorite for New Orleans to score at plus 180. That's the shortest price.
Is he really?
Yeah, on FanDuel at least. Another guy is Juwan Johnson at 360. Johnson's had a really good year.
Yeah.
He's sneaky to get in. I feel like one of these guys could get in. I mean, between Hill, Neal, Johnson.
What's Darren Waller's number? Because he's active. I'm
220.
All right. I mean, I don't think I love that number, but I mean, if you're going to have a target outside of Waddle and Achane near the end zone, and we've seen there's history of this early in the season, like it'll be Darren Waller will be that other guy. I don't love it, but because I think this is a huge Achane game personally through the passing game and the running game, more the passing game probably. But yeah, I mean, Taysom Hill. I'm playing him in DFS. I can tell you that much at the tight end spot.
I think that's pretty solid. And just for FYI, the Dolphins defense has given up 7 touchdowns to tight ends. I mean, that's pretty much the most in the NFL this year, with the exception of Cincinnati at a wide margin of 13 touchdowns allowed to the tight end position. So definitely live to get in there. Probably interested in Achane's big. He's minus 145, but perhaps he's not a bad look in a anytime tutty parlay. You can get it done both by ground and by air. Any love for Achane's rush yard, 79.5?
Not really. If anything, I would look at his combo rushing and receiving, or just his receiving alone. I think New Orleans, if memory serves, has been decent against the run, and they're pretty healthy. So listen, Achane's going to get force fed. Who knows? Maybe some of those backups like Ollie Gordon will get involved to some degree. I don't like the rushing prop. If anything, I'd be on the under there and maybe the over with the receiving yards.
Anything with the receptions?
What is it at?
We're just talking on FanDuel right now. So the reception
4.5 maybe.
It's probably it's 5.5. Juice.
Wow.
Juice to the over. Well, 5.5 plus 115. So technically juice to the under.
Yeah.
Minus 148 on the under.
I wouldn't take that. If it was 4.5, like at minus 135 or something, I would take the over, but I don't think there's any value in that one.
Okay. We move on to a reverse Roman spot. A lot of 5.5s on the board one way or
another. A lot of 5.5s, yeah.
San Francisco at Cleveland. Very low total, 35.5. Weather is not good in Cleveland. So let me ask you, the Shador train left the station last week. They had a nice win at the Raiders. He had a couple nice passes, a lot of news surrounding Shador, whether it's good or it's bad. Buddy, I got to be honest. And we saw this last time. Remember what happened a few years ago or a couple years ago when the Niners went to the Browns and they were, I want to say like 7.5 or 8.5 point favorites, lost outright. I think it was a game Kittle got hurt mid-game or McCaffrey got hurt mid-game. They were without both of them, something along those lines. Am I crazy or I think Cleveland's a live dog today?
I agree. Especially when you consider, like, first of all, this defense is too good. Like, you cannot count out the Browns. I don't care who's playing quarterback, especially if Shador is going to play super conservatively. And like, I would assume we're going to see a lot of running, a lot of Quinshon Judkins, and a lot of like very quick, precise passes. And you can run on this San Francisco defense. I mean, they've still got all the injuries that we've been talking about over the last 4 to 6 weeks. So yeah, I mean, I like the +5.5. I also think Brock Purdy's not healthy. I don't think I'm breaking any news there, but I don't think he's over his toe injury. I thought we saw maybe some evidence of that last week. If you're going to throw with 3 interceptions last week, and now you got to go to Cleveland again, we're talking about a 1:00 game against arguably the best defense in bad weather. This is going to be a slog where it's going to be a lot of running, a lot of short area passes, a lot of leaning on the defense and waiting for a quarterback to make a mistake. And if I'm San Francisco, it's a lot of CMC, it's a lot of Brian Robinson, some George Kittle, wait for Shador to make his mistake and win this game, let's say 16-10 or something.
Yeah, something along those lines. 35.5 is a very, very low total. I mean, look, man, props wise, I'm not in love with it. I think I'd be cool with Judkins carries.
Yeah.
Which is about 17.5.
Wow.
I think I'd be interested in Judkins touchdown, which is still plus money. Let me ask you, Christian McCaffrey, 4.5 catches. He has been an ATM in the reception game. So in theory, this is what I'm looking at, right? Bad weather. Brock Purdy's probably going to be under constant duress. Brock Purdy looks terrible.
Yes.
And Christian McCaffrey is a target hog, and he's been a machine in the receiving game. So I feel like a lot of that could translate to some of those quick dump offs you were talking about, design screens, speed outs, if you can manage to get your footing in this kind of weather. Like, what do you think about the 4.5 catches for McCaffrey?
So, you know what's really interesting about that? I mean, I think you're finding value because I'm looking at FanDuel. The 4.5 is -108. Everywhere else, it's somewhere between -132 and -160. Like BetMGM has -160, DraftKings has -138, and there's everything in between. I thought that number was going to be closer to the -130, which everybody else has it at that. I think at -108, I think that's actually some pretty good value. I mean, he's like, so what I like to do there, because I don't think we're going to see a lot of passes completed downfield. What I like to do there sometimes is go to, and I'm looking at it now, is to go to the completions props for Brock Purdy. Like, what do they think? How many completions? So we're looking at 18.5, 17.5, depending on where you look. I mean, how many of those are going to Pearsall and Juwan Jennings? I don't think there's going to be that many going there. I think it's going to be a lot of Kittle, some backup tight end stuff, and some Christian McCaffrey. It's a low completions prop, but I feel like CMC gets 5.
I think so too. I think I'm targeting both running backs. I'm not really targeting anybody else. Maybe Kittle gets loose and Purdy's able to hit him. Absolutely possible. But I mean, if you're looking at this, reading the tea leaves between the weather and the matchup itself, Kittle has the highest total, 43.5 in the entire game receiving. I mean, that's telling us a lot here. And I feel like it's going to be more catches than yards if you're CMC. I mean, Purdy's probably just going to be looking to get the ball out of his hands and, McCaffrey maybe make somebody miss, but I just think downfield, it's going to be tough sledding. And if Purdy's mobility is what it is with the toe injury, I mean, I don't really see much that way.
Too many points. I agree with you.
This could be one of those games where, Cleveland, remember what Cleveland did to the Packers? Like that was a 13-10 game?
Yeah.
Something along those lines. It could be very similar to that. I think if we're looking, this might be an underdog week, man. I think, though, Cleveland is an interesting underdog because if Brock Purdy just melts under this pressure, the way Myles Garrett's going, I mean, he's legitimately putting together an MVP candidate.
Yeah.
Not Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
I
If the
mean,
Browns were actually good, then you'd be right about that.
yeah, I mean, look, maybe Shador's live to use his legs here in this one. Definitely possible, but I think this is a big Quinshon Judkins game. Let me ask you though, do you get scared at all maybe on a Quinshon touchdown? Is that something that's like a little shaky for you?
Yeah, because I just don't know how many times we're going to see Cleveland in the red zone with the opportunity for Quinshon to score. Like how many times realistically do we see them inside the 10-yard line? Twice this entire game. Like so I think I would lean Quinshon anytime touchdown, but it's just not the type of game environment where I'm like, all right, I'm going to get a few cracks at this, and it's just it could be one or two drives that even touch the 10-yard line.
Yeah, look, man, I think I'm probably along the same lines here. I like Quinshon. Like, I would play it straight. I was discussing if I would throw it in a parlay, because I know we got a lot of parlay bettors, and that's probably one I'd rather take his carries, because even though they're projected to be 6-point dogs, basically, I still think game script wise, we're going to see a lot of QJ here. I don't know, other than San Francisco's defense getting a couple scores or on special teams, whatever the case is. I think this is probably going to be a heavy ground approach for the Browns today.
Totally agree.
All right, another terrible weather game. The Falcons at the Jets. This was 2.5, moved to a flat 3. Buddy, Jets might be a live dog here today.
I totally agree. I mean, almost every dog we've talked about is a lot. Like you think the Saints might be a live dog, although that's more of a Royal Mint 5.5. We talked about the Jags game against Tennessee. I think Tennessee is a live dog. I know that's tenuous, but I think that's true. We just talked about last game how Cleveland's a live dog, and I think I'm surprised this moved up to 3. To be honest with you, Jets are at home. We'll see how the Falcons play in this type of weather environment. Tyrod Taylor's an upgrade over Justin Fields. Tyrod Taylor appears to have a couple of receivers that he believes in, most notably John Mechie, and we can make the argument for Adonai Mitchell. I had his prop last week. It fortunately came in, even though he's super inefficient. We still got Breece Hall back there. I mean, I don't know why this is 3. I would take the Jets plus 3 here.
Interesting note let's call it what it is. Drake London's not going to play again. It's going to be Kirk Cousins. I mean, His offense really hasn't looked that good to begin with. Now you have Kirk Cousins back there in a bad weather game. And let's call it what it is, man. Atlanta's defense is bottom 3rd in the NFL against running back. So we could probably see a solid Breece Hall day. This could be one of those games where the Jets commit to the run, 25, 30 carries. Breece Hall gets 20 of them, 22, whatever the number is. I think 3 points at home, travel spot, outdoors. Atlanta's not used to playing in these conditions. I think I'd probably be inclined to side with the Jets. I think them winning outright it's not too far-fetched.
Breece Hall's combination prop, rushing and receiving. So if you look at, and again, I look at this stuff for my DFS shows, right? So because I want to know where the value is. Breece Hall's only 6,000 in DFS, so like he's got tremendous value. So leading the pack is Achane, and his combined rushing and receiving prop, depending on where you look, is between like 118 and 120. Then you got Bijan in the mid, like in the 115 range. Then you got Christian McCaffrey, believe it or not, in that bad game environment at around 110. Then it's Jonathan Taylor, and then it's Breece Hall. So his combo prop, Breece Hall, is right around 100, 101.5. Yeah, I mean, this is probably going to be a big Breece Hall game. And to be honest with you, I know you got Algier and Bijan on the other side, but are we worried about, if you're the Jets and you're at home in this type of weather, which is, it's not Cleveland weather, but it's still bad weather nonetheless, are you worried about Kirk Cousins throwing it downfield to Darnell Mooney and Kyle Pitts? Like, is that what you're worried about? Not really. So you're keying on Bijan, just like the Atlanta Falcons will key in on Breece Hall. To me, these are like two of the same team. I understand one has a better record than the other, but that other team is on the road. Give me the 3.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to take 3. I mean, it's actually insane how bad this week is, like matchup wise, and then you throw in just insane weather, like apocalyptic weather on the East Coast today. So that's definitely think let's get a little creative here. Give me a sec. Let me take a picture of something I cooked up.
We got a parlay, some parlay action.
Yeah, I like throwing a couple parlays with my straight bets too.
I like it.
In addition to my straight bets. So let's see. Let's just play around with this, right? We like Cleveland 5.5. If we're taking spreads, we like Tennessee 5.5. We like take the Jets 3. Take the Saints with the spread. So those four dogs 12.70.
Nice.
Solid. It's hard to get all these underdogs to cover, but I mean, look, man, stranger things have happened. We saw what happened on Thursday, Friday.
So, in my opinion, like a bad team is going to bad team at some point. So when you're talking about these 4 games, somebody's going to let you down. Yeah. I'd almost like mixing in a couple, favorite. like take one of those teams away and take the Jets money line or something like that. I'm not saying that's like the better bet, but I feel like one of those 4 teams is going to let you down. Maybe you go with the most confident of the 3. Like what are our most confident of the 3? You like the Royal Mint play. You like the Jets +3. What's your next best? I'm the one that said Tennessee. So your next best is the other one.
I would probably say, so if we're just talking in the 1 o'clock window, these 4 dogs that, obviously the Rams or the Panthers are a big dog, but we both like the Rams. Yeah. Out of all the games we discussed so far, I don't think we love Arizona. So in this 1 o'clock window, we have those 4 dogs that we're interested in. I would say the least likely to cover is probably the Titans because the Titans have an extremely low floor. Granted, a lot of these other teams have low floors, but I mean, if you look at the matchup, Cleveland, we discussed that they have an opportunity because they have a really good defense, and Brock Purdy is just not. He doesn't look healthy, and he just looks bad. Jets, I mean, they're 2 evenly matched teams. Atlanta outdoors, Kirk Cousins, limited weapons, and the Jets have a clear path on offense on the ground. Saints Royal Mint spot. I would say in realistic fashion, the Titans are probably the team I'd be most cautious.
Least likely, yeah.
And then maybe, you take the Jets outright +140. I mean, that pays 786. So that's interesting.
Either way, I think we might see 3 out of these 4 cover.
I think that's realistic. I know you degenerates are watching closely to see what kind of legs we're cooking up with the Parleasy today. All right, we have another game here. Last spot in the 1 o'clock window. Texans Colts flat 3. Sia. Wednesday we did our show. This was 4.5.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think this is a little bit big for the Texans, but let me wait to see. Maybe some more action comes in on Indy and we get the Royal Mint spot here, but it's going the other way. And I think a lot of it had to do, once Daniel Jones, it was announced that he's been playing with a fracture in his leg. The line dropped a full point, and now it's settling at 3. I do wonder if this gets to 2.5 before kickoff in the next 2+ hours. Buddy, let me ask you, is this a pros versus Joe spot where everybody loves Houston and then maybe Indy finds a way to pull this out? Does Houston stay hot? Indy, needs to bottom out a little bit before they find their way back up. How are you looking at this one?
It's too many points. So the Colts haven't been playing well. Their defense has been struggling since DeForest Buckner went out. And I think you can't really make this a pros versus Joes thing in this game or in the Tampa game, because we don't know what's going to happen with Daniel Jones. I mean, he's got a broken leg, and we watched him warm up. At least we saw some clips of him warming up, I think a couple of days ago at practice, and it didn't look like he was super comfortable. And now you have to face maybe the best defense, or at least maybe depending on where you have Cleveland and Seattle and some of those defenses. I mean, I understand you're at home, but this offense hasn't looked great. You're going up against the top defense, and Daniel Jones takes one wrong hit, and then it's Anthony Richards season. And honestly, I think
active, or are you still doing with his eye?
Gosh, that's a good point. I don't even know who. I'll take a look if you're not looking right now. It's a great question. I think he's been active the last couple of games, but either way, how dynamic is Daniel Jones going to be? What's the threat of the run from Daniel Jones, or scrambling, or read options, or anything like that? I just feel like this offense is really limited right now, and the Texans defense is playing too well. As far as CJ Stroud, Davis Mills, I think it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other as it stands right now. I think Woody Marks is going to have an okay game. I noticed his rushing prop is 52.5. I kind of like the over there. Nico Collins healthy. You got Higgins that's stepping up. It's too many points. I'm not surprised this went down to 3. I would still take the +3.
Right? Yeah. Richardson's not even.
Is it Riley Leonard?
It is Riley.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not. It's better than Richardson right now, probably.
Okay. All right. Now let me ask you this. Let me follow this up here. So you like the Texans +3. Is Texans +3 a better play than maybe taking? And I'm thinking out loud, thinking different ways than the Colts team total 23.5.
Are you talking under or over on the 23.5?
Under.
Yeah, I like the under 23.5 quite a bit.
Do you like that better than Texans +3?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Let's review here very quickly, because I mean it's weird. Texans, their defense has been playing so good, but they just couldn't get anything from their offense. And lately, I mean, here we go. It's been enough. Other than, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 of their last 5 games, an opponent has not scored 20. Obviously they got crushed by Jacksonville. That was a weird game. Before that, Seattle handed them a loss, 27 points they allowed. Ravens, I think Lamar was out for that one. They only scored 10. Titans, they put up a goose. Jags put up 17 the first time. Bucks put up 20. I mean, they've only allowed over 20 points twice this year. And if Daniel Jones is playing with a hairline fracture, I mean, you're going to gear up for Jonathan Taylor. Because the thing that makes Daniel Jones good this year is his threat to run. I mean, he can get loose. And look, man, I don't know what kind of Toradol smoothie or lidocaine blend that they're going to give this guy, but I don't know, man. Playing with a fractured leg, just common sense wise, doesn't seem like it's very optimal.
You know, so there's so many bad situations, like Daniel Jones, bad, like Baker Mayfield, you could say, okay, well, he's at home, you know, and Arizona's defense isn't like that troubling. I can understand playing with that. It's the opposite shoulder, AC joint sprain, whatever it is, which I've had shoulder issues. If you aggravate that, like, good luck. But this situation for Daniel Jones against the Texans of all teams, I understand he's at home, is bad. And we're going to get into Brosmer's situation at Seattle in a few minutes. Like, those are a couple of really bad situations for quarterbacks to walk into. So I don't think this is going to go well for the Colts. And in all honesty, the way the Texans defense is playing specifically, an outright win here would not surprise me in any way, shape, or form.
So you could do this as well. If you're interested in looking at this, like, what's your thoughts on, say, if you juiced it up a little bit, you took Colts under team total 24.5 and you put up the Texans +3.5 and parlayed it +116.
Yeah, I like that.
Those two are correlated.
Of course. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. You said 4.5 is the spread you
outlined? 3.5.
3.5.
So you lose the hook.
Yeah. So 20 to 17 gets you there. I think I like that. A +116. Yeah.
Yeah, that might be a full play.
Because if this ends up being a high scoring affair, it means we were wrong about Daniel Jones, and it also means the Colts probably cover. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the Colts get to 27, they're probably covering. Like, we probably assessed this game incorrectly, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. I don't, just for my own curiosity, I'd be interested to see what the public splits are, like what the Joes versus pros have to say about this. Like, because there's been a lot of money coming in on Houston.
Well, I mean, that's pro money. You're not getting that line from 4.5 to 3 with public money, certainly.
Right. Yeah. So I think we have our answer there. I think Houston makes a ton of sense here. Their defense has been playing so hot right now. So wonder how many you're putting in the box against Jonathan Taylor this week. Well, with that being said, any other props here that you like? Do you like maybe a Nico Collins to go over 63.5? Do you like a Nico Collins touchdown? Are you still on maybe JT to get something? He's 85.5.
Woody Marks. FanDuel has the best line for Woody Marks in terms of his rushing yards, and he hasn't been super efficient, but he was pretty good last week. And again, I understand this offensive line has questions, and they're on the road. Woody Marks 52.5 or his rushing attempts of 14.5. I like that. On the road gives me a little bit of pause, which is why instead of the efficiency, I might go with the attempts, the volume of 14.5, because I think both these teams are going to try to win the game on defense. A lot of the Cleveland, San Francisco analysis, I think, applies here, where you're trying not to lose the game on offense. And I think that what that means is conservative approach, run the ball. And that doesn't mean they're not going to pass, but I think Woody Marks is going to be heavily involved, just like Jonathan Taylor.
Let me ask you this. I'm debating my flex on my fantasy team today. I'm between Woody Marks and Kamani Vidal. And so, fair point. Every time I start Kamani Vidal, he does nothing. But when I sit him, he goes nuts. And he's been alternating good games with bad games. Like one week he'll put up 23, the next week he'll put up 2, then the next week he puts up 25, next week he puts up 1. He had a bad game last time. Amari and Hampton's still out.
Yeah, I think you have to go Vidal because Vidal's, listen, the Raiders rush defense is decent. It's actually pretty good, but I still think it's such a mismatch, just team to team, that we're going to see Vidal get a lot of work. And for the record, I think he's probably going to catch more balls than Woody Marks, who hasn't really been. Maybe with CJ Stroud that turns a little bit, but we haven't seen Woody Marks in the passing game much. So I think Vidal's the play there.
Good looks. That's who I have in. But I wanted to gauge your temperature on that before I made it final. All right, we're into the 4:00 window. Big dog. I love this game. Seattle minus 11.5. I'm all over Seattle. I know it's moved a touch here. Sam Darnold, legacy game against the team that let him go, for the quarterback that's not even playing today. He's been outside of maybe like a game and a half. He's been a dumpster fire. JJ McCarthy. This is a Sam Darnold legacy game. 11.5 Seattle. Darnold over 1.5 pass tutties. I think I'm alting. I'm hitting 3 tutties. I'm sprinkling 4 tutties at 10-1. I think they're going to run the score up on him. I think Sam Darnold this week, and I don't know this. This is just going on in my head. I'm playing a scenario in my head where I think Sam Darnold pulled Mike McDonald aside and he goes, "Listen up, big dog. We're running the score up on them. We're putting up 50 today. They let me go. I want to show them exactly what they're missing right now."
Well, they know what they're missing. I mean, it is. You said McCarthy's played for a game, like decent for a game and a half. I mean, that's like overselling it in such a big way. He's been so bad, and he has put the Vikings franchise for years to come. It's not JJ's fault. He didn't draft himself, but like, if you hold on to Sam Darnold, you're in the playoff race. You're probably being talked about as a potential Super Bowl contender, among a lot of other teams. And instead, you lose Daniel Jones, you lose Sam Darnold, and you draft a guy that your future is tied to. And now things are so bad that it's not just a JJ McCarthy thing. Now it's a team thing. Now it's potentially a Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison thing, and Aaron Jones and whoever else that are like, this is like I want out now. Like I this is so bad. And I don't know much about Brosmer, who of course played at the FCS level and then played 1 year at Minnesota. But I just can't imagine this is going to be a good scene for him. He's probably going to be better than JJ McCarthy. You can make that argument that he's going to be as good or better than JJ McCarthy, but that is such a low bar to cross that it's not really conveying any information. Seattle at home, this defense. I like your Sam Darnold call. 1.5 touchdown passes is like, it's not prohibitive in terms of like what the juice is. It's like, I know that he doesn't pass a ton, but it's minus 115, minus 105, that kind of thing, depending on where you're looking. I don't mind that at all.
I think he's a little amped up for this one.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd be disappointed if he doesn't throw at least 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Look, bro, I don't care what anybody said. This is personal for him.
Yeah.
He's got to be pissed off. He's got the best receiver in the NFL this year. JSN. I think this is an all Seattle spot. I really do. I love the Seahawks today. I feel like in addition to Darnold, like, what's your thoughts on this? And the only reason I ask is because we've seen game scripts cost us. Like coming into this year, I was all over JSN to be a monster breakout. I know he had a breakout last year, but I was talking about taking a step forward. I had him 20-1 preseason to lead the league in catches because I felt if Darnold translated last year to this year, and JSN being the guy, losing Papa DK, losing Tyler Lockett, like he is the alpha one, then it was going to result in him being able to have somewhere between like 120, 130 catches. And so far that's come to fruition. But in addition to it, every week, JSN catch overs. I'm on it every single week. And a couple times he didn't deliver, but that's because of game script. Like he would have 4 or 5 catches in the first half, but they'd be up 30 points, and then he would not play in the second half. I mean, obviously that's the smart thing to do.
Yeah.
But in this scenario, do we see the same thing happening where JSN could have 4 or 5 catches in the first half? He needs to get to 7 or 8, and then they pull him.
Yeah, and that's why if I was going to bet this at this point with this big of a spread, I would just go with the yards, because you're right. It could be a 60-yard gain plus 3 other catches that get him to 100 receiving yards, which barely clears his total. And they're up, 27-0. And then we see them dial it back in the second half. His efficiency has been so good that, again, I think I would go with the yards over the receptions. But yeah, I think this is probably going to get out of hand.
So he's 6.5. So I think that's probably where it's going. And also, I mean, if we're really looking at the X's and O's, Minnesota hasn't been that bad against receivers, at least in terms of counting stats on paper. If we're going down on the matchups here, but there's just certain guys that it doesn't matter with the matchup.
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter with him.
Yeah, it just does not matter. I think I'd probably be more in line to go with his yards. I would agree. 7 catches is obviously doable. I mean, he's pretty much ripping between 8 and 9 a game. But I think the yards are pretty good. It's funny. I think I don't remember what the stat is exactly, but might be the first player in NFL history to have 75 plus receiving yards in every single game through the first 12 weeks or whatever, or 12 games, something like that. So I'd probably be more inclined to take his yards. Any other props here that you're looking at?
No, this one's tough. I mean, anytime you have a spread like this, and a lack of a potentially competitive game, honestly, I would look at Justin Jefferson overs, because again, if we think that Brosmer is going to be competent relative to JJ McCarthy, all of a sudden Jefferson could have at least a decent game. He's certainly going to be keyed in on in a negative game script. I think that's interesting. Kenneth Walker overs, maybe rushing attempt overs. That line's pretty high, so that's why I didn't take it. But I could see Kenneth Walker, maybe even Zach Charbonnet mixing in, both hitting their overs.
Yeah, well, that's honestly what I was looking at, because last week at Tennessee, they were up a healthy margin. Charbonnet only got 6 carries.
Yeah.
Which was, I mean, he 35 yards, so he was obviously ultra efficient, but I was a little surprised he didn't get to at least 10 or 12. So possibly some yards for the running backs for a second half, clock bleeder.
Yep.
But I think I'm all over Darnold, I'm all over JSN, and I'm all over the Seahawks spread. I got to be honest, maybe just because, like I said, I do it every week. I still might have to take JSN over 6.5 catches, because I do it every week.
Yeah.
It's, like some people go to church on Sunday mornings. I take JSN over catches on Sunday morning. So I think I probably have to keep doing that.
I get it.
But yeah, I love Seattle. Listen, if my handicap was wrong and this kid Brosmer comes out and he's the second coming of John Elway, so be it. But I just think everything on my handicap says I like Seattle here, especially at home. That's one of the toughest places to play in the NFL. And you have a kid who's making his first career start. Vikings team overall, it's been very uninspiring. I don't think this is a letdown game for Seattle. I think this is the opposite. I think they're going to get amped up for this one.
I'll say this. Aaron Jones receiving yards, I'm looking at it now. I'd be interested in that. I think we see a lot of dump offs, especially in a negative game script with a quarterback that's going to want to get the ball out fast. Aaron Jones receiving yards prop it looks like 17 or 16.5. FanDuel has the best number here again, 16.5. I don't mind that at all. I know those are kind of finicky props to take, receiving yards, because they're a little the variance is high, but I think Aaron Jones could actually have a good game, but it'd be in the receiving game, not the rushing game.
That's actually a good point, because Seattle's defense against running backs out of the backfield, they're bottom 6. They've given up the 6th most yards to running backs out of the backfield. So it's actually a pretty solid look. 16.5 is a little bit light. So I feel like we could see that one. So yeah, Bills were 3.5 to open up this week. Now they're flat 3. A little bit coming in on Pittsburgh. Buffalo's had 2 weeks, pretty much, to reflect on that disaster they called an effort at Houston on Thursday night. They were about a 6-point favorite. They go into Houston. Late action coming in on Houston that game. And then I started feeling, I'm like, it's a big spread. It's a big number. Defense is playing good. They lose outright. Josh Allen got harassed up and down the field. And they've had so much time to reflect on that. Like, now this is a Buffalo team that is this close to letting New England run away with the division. Like, it's still in theory in their grasp. But if they lose here, it's going to be really tough for them to have a shot to win the AFC East. So is this a bounce back game for Buffalo? Do you think they get it?
I do. I think they cover the spread. It's not something I'd be willing to play, though. I mean, the Bills look very disjointed, and the Pittsburgh defense can sometimes look really bad too, but they're at home. I'm not 100% sure how healthy or efficient Aaron Rodgers is going to be, but I think this running game is going to keep Pittsburgh in it. Nonetheless, 2 weeks, they're without their tackles still, but I think Josh Allen is going to kind of be Superman Josh Allen, James Cook. I think the receiving game is going to look a little bit better against this Pittsburgh defense. I think this is a Bill spot. I think this is Steelers are fat and happy now that Baltimore's starting to, that loss against the Bengals was pretty important for them. Yeah. But either way, I like the Bills here.
I think the Bills get this one done. I don't think it'll be pretty, but right. I feel like it will be enough. Like you said, there are certain guys in the NFL, there's certain playmakers that when the game's on the line, they gotta deliver, and they usually do. And then Josh Allen's one of them. I mean, he's got to be Superman for them.
Yeah,
it's just give him the ball, get the hell out of the way. I think Josh Allen against the defense, really, like you said, they've had their moments where they've been good, but I wouldn't consider Pittsburgh a good defense.
Right, agree.
Their offense is extremely questionable. I mean, yeah, they can have some games where Warren goes off or Kenneth Gainwell had a big game against Chicago. But other than Papa DK, they don't really have many receiving weapons that I would be afraid of if I'm the Bills here. I think we're going to probably see Sia Nejad.
Japan, what's up?
Look, man, I just think this is a game where Josh Allen's is gonna do a lot of running. I think James Cook's going to be doing a lot of running, and I feel like Buffalo's just going to find a way.
And for the record, I know Japan is a Khalil Shakir fan. I think he's actually like personal friends with Khalil Shakir. I do think so. I just saw Brandon Cooks is going to be active for this game, which is kind of funny. But I thought I saw Keon Coleman is also going to be active. So I don't know who that. I know they let go of Elijah Moore. So the point is, I think when you have these 2 weeks, so Japan has it in here. Khalil Shakir over 51.5 receiving yards. That feels a little high, but I don't hate it. I think Khalil Shakir I don't think Dalton Kincaid is playing in this one. Maybe there's news on that, but I could be wrong there. But I think Khalil Shakir is going to be a primary target here. I could see him and Josh Allen having a nice connection this game.
Shakir 51.5 over, solid. You're blowing up a spot, man. You're blowing up the spot. Yeah, look, man. I think it's interesting. Theory, because especially with Buffalo without Kincaid, really it could be anybody in the receiving end that steps up here.
Yeah, it's true.
It really could be. I think Josh Allen to score is interesting. Shakir to score is 2-1. Dawson Knox is 330. He's their tight end now.
They've got a few that they throw to, though, is the problem.
Yeah, but
kind of like the the Rams situation.
Yeah. Ray Davis, any thought on him? 17-1 to get in today?
I would rather play Ty Johnson, to be honest with you, because in the receiving game, they find ways to get Ty Johnson open. What's his anytime touchdown?
6-1.
Okay.
Not bad.
I think he's interesting.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, Buffalo, they go all hands on deck. Whoever
they really do.
Whoever can make one play, they're throwing them in the game. But yeah, I think Buffalo is going to deliver. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be pretty, but I think they get the job done here. So I believe Buffalo to win and cover the flat 3.
I agree. I tend to agree with that. It's not something I'm willing to play, though, just to put that out there.
Yeah, I'm not rushing to the window to bet it, but all right, we got the Chargers, Raiders. This is pretty much held firm at 9.5. Chargers, same way the Bills, man. I don't know if the Jaguars sent the same pizza delivery guy to their hotel rooms that the guy gave the pizza to Michael Jordan for the flu game. But the Chargers didn't get off the bus for Jacksonville.
Mhm.
They got ran roughshod over. They got humiliated, dominated, literally any way you could describe it. They got beat 35-6. And listen, I was on the Chargers. I thought the Chargers were going to finish strong going into the bye week, but perhaps maybe they booked a nice little 2-week getaway via Groupon to Cabo. I don't know. I don't know what they did, but they didn't show up. But they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this spot, 2 weeks to reflect, probably chomping at the bit. I know it's a divisional game. Is 9.5 too many, or is it not enough?
I feel like the line is baiting us into the Chargers because of how bad the Raiders have been. Like to me, this feels like it should be, even though the Chargers have played poorly, they got some offensive line issues. I almost feel like it should be 10.5, as bad as the Raiders have been playing. Now you got the OC fired. Chip Kelly's gone. So what does that mean for the offense? I'm not 100% sure. I think we'll see a lot of Ashton Genty, who might have some success in this game. Obviously, a lot of Brock Bowers. I don't know. I worry about this Chargers offensive line. I feel like right now I would lean to the Chargers, but this is one of those where I'm like, should they be favored by over anybody right now by 9.5? The off week is really, I think, helping matters for them. I lean to the Chargers, but again, this is something that I'd rather just stay away from.
I'm probably leaning to the Chargers as well. Do you know what the sneaky Dickens thing that our book's doing here?
What's that?
The line's 9.5. Why is that significant? For all you degenerates that like laying extra juice on these teasers, you are no longer getting a flat 3. So if you tease the Chargers down, you're getting 3 and a hook. So that is of some significance. On DK, though, it's a flat 10. But I think I lean the Chargers. 2 weeks off. They've had a lot of time to prepare. I don't really see much of it from the Raiders. Perhaps this could be a nice little Brock Bowers spot if they're trailing points. 58.5 seems a little light. His total receptions are 5.5, juice to the over. I mean, there's got to be some good props here, I'd think.
Yeah, I wonder about, I'm looking it up now, Justin Herbert completions. His yardage is 235.5. But his completions have my interest. I do think he'll get the ball out fast. I mean, it's a decent pass rush. 21.5. I mean, that's fine. I would lean slightly to the over on Justin Herbert's completions, maybe the under on his attempts. I think he'll be relatively efficient. I don't love this game, though. If anything, I'd be looking at Raiders props. I'd be looking at Bowers, like you said, and maybe Genty rushing attempts.
Nothing for Lad McConkey. Raiders are on the bottom half of the NFL in terms of yards allowed to wide receivers. 51.5 McConkey. I mean, we saw what the Cowboys were able to do to this Raiders secondary.
I do like McConkey. I actually do. Like, I think that's low enough for me to take. I understand there's a lot of mouths to feed, but I think McConkey makes sense at 51.5. That's pretty low to me.
Yeah, I think I'd probably be looking at taking a Lad McConkey over here for this Sunday 4 o'clock. Guys, I'm sorry. I apologize. This slate is just absolutely brutal. This is easily one of the worst slates of the entire NFL season. But I think McConkey is probably the best prop, in my opinion, in terms of the Chargers. Brock Bowers, it's interesting because the Chargers have been great against tight ends, but granted, like, they haven't played many guys of Brock Bowers' caliber. The tight end market is a little bit, what's the word? Bad. Like, there's not a ton of great tight ends. Bowers went 5 for 38 the first time against them. Maybe it's a little bit more this time if they're trailing, especially.
Yeah, I like Bowers to be a big factor here. Again, I like Genty. I'm seeing 16.5 and 15.5 rushing attempts, but there's like some 15.5s at -115. I think we're going to see a lot of Ashton Genty. As long as this game is within a couple of scores, I think we're going to see a lot of Ashton Genty.
I think J-Pen's theory's got legs here. Little laddie daddy, anytime.
Yeah, I get it. Honestly, speaking of laddie, how about a ladder on Lad McConkey? I mean, against this, if Raiders keep it competitive and Justin Herbert continues to pass, I could see, obviously his 60 plus would be in the, I don't know, the plus 130 range. I'm just throwing it out there, but 70 plus is certainly in the plus 200 range. I think Ladd could get to 70.
Any love for Laddie Daddy to get to a C note, a flat Hundy piece?
In this game environment, it's tough. The Raiders will have to be competitive. They'll have to be able to move the ball, which is certainly possible. Yeah, it's possible for Ladd McConkey.
He went 5 for 48 the first time these two teams played.
I'll tell you this. I would be more inclined to look at somebody like Quentin Johnston because we know he could be such a good deep threat. I think so. When you look at his receiving prop is 39.5, which I don't love that, by the way. But I would almost ignore the 39.5 and just start with the latter. In other words, I might start with Quentin Johnston at like 50 plus and just hope he catches a long ball and maybe correlate it with the touchdown and see what that pays.
They could. McConkey, 4.5 catches does seem a little light there, buddy. I think the McConkey 4.5 train, it's a tad light. It's just weird because sometimes the Chargers get into these games where they don't give him a ton of targets.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously the Jacksonville game, you could just flush that one out. But against Pittsburgh, he went 4 for 107 and a tud. He only got 6 targets. Yeah, granted, game script, they were up. Against the Titans, he only got 6 targets. He got 10 and 15. I mean, before that, though, he was getting some targets. But I think 4.5 to the over is pretty solid.
So speaking of parlays, so one of the reverse correlated parlays I hit early in the year was Quentin Johnston at 22-1. And I think Japan was on that. So what I did was, and this is probably around 20-1 is my guess. I did under receptions on Quentin Johnston, which in this case is 3.5. I did over his receiving yards, but I went to like the first rung of the ladder. So instead of let's call it 50 plus. So 50 plus receiving yards under, this is reverse correlated, of course, under receptions at 3.5, and you include an anytime touchdown. I haven't done it, but I haven't computed that, but it's probably somewhere between, 17 and 25-1. He's the exact type of player that I'd want to play with a reverse correlated parlay. And I've hit one of these on Quentin Johnston earlier this year.
I'm gonna have to do that with you. I think that's an appealing play. I actually have both. I actually have a lot of Chargers in my fantasy team. Because Drake London's hurt, I think I have to start both Q and Ladd McConkey, and I think I'm going Kamani Vidal in the flex. So I got a lot of bolts this week.
I mean, they could put up a ton of points.
They could drop a 30B, no doubt. All right, Sunday Night Football. I mean, okay. In theory, I understand why the NFL did this because it's supposed to be Bo Nix versus JD.
Yeah,
hasn't shaken out that way. The Broncos have moved up. This was a 5.5. Now it's a 6.5. What's the tipping point for Denver laying too many?
We're close to it. Probably at 7. Because Washington, even with Mariota, can be competitive. They've had a couple of weeks as well. Their defense is still extremely banged up, though. Terry McLaurin back for this one. Bo Nix has not looked good. I feel like this line is pretty efficient. I don't know. I honestly think the under might be a good play in this one. I like this Bo Nix over rushing yards. I could absolutely see that. Yeah, I think 7 would be too many, but I think 6.5. I would lean to the Broncos. Yeah, I'm a Commanders fan. I would lean to the Broncos here, but this one's really ugly.
Yeah, I think I'd probably lean to the Broncos, but I like the under. Unders have been ATMs, bro. Cash cows in prime time, especially Sunday Night Football. I haven't had the tracker, but these unders have been cashing like crazy. And also the thing for Denver, it's very frustrating is it's just you never know who's going to get the ball. It's sort of like Buffalo. Like, yeah, you got Courtland Sutton, but then sometimes it's Troy Franklin. On occasion, it's Marvin Mims. It could be Pat Bryant all of a sudden. J.K. Dobbins being out for the year is a real bummer.
Yeah.
But anything on R.J. Harvey now? His total's 57.5. I think we could get some work here on R.J. Harvey. Are you more inclined to take him on the ground with rush or go rush receive?
Probably rush receive. I don't like it though. I think 57.5 is just a little too much. And I'm not convinced he's going to get all of the carries. Yeah, I would actually lean to his under, but if anything, I would go to rushing and receiving.
So just FYI, Commanders are bottom 6 in rushing yards allowed to backs. I mean, in terms of like pure matchups, it's decent. They're bottom 3rd in the NFL and receiving yards allowed to running backs. I mean, so there's an opportunity here for R.J. Harvey. Maybe if we explore the right now he's 79.5 rush receive. Do you think that's solid?
I'd still lean to the under. I don't think we're going to see a ton of offense in this game, and that's why. And I could see other running backs mixing in this one.
Yeah, maybe like a Jaleel McLaughlin.
Yeah, exactly.
Props could be at a limited fashion here. Yeah, I could see it. Again, I don't love this spot. They probably the unders is something I'd be looking.
It's also going to be pretty cold. I think it might rain a little bit in Washington tonight, but it's certainly going to be cold. Not that that's a problem for Denver of all teams, but I just don't like how this Denver offense has been playing. And I don't think, because it's Sunday Night Football, it's an isolated spot. I think Washington's going to come with some juice coming off a bye.
A little bit of firepower.
Yeah. And don't forget, Terry McLaurin's back. I think Jalen Lane is back. So the offense is relatively healthy. We might see a lot of Chris Rodriguez. I think he's interesting to take a look at. I don't think I'd play his props, but it'll be a conservative game plan from Washington, but it'll also have, they'll have all their skill positions.
All right. Yeah. I mean, look, man, I get it. I'm in agreement here. It's not a pretty spot. Wonder if maybe Denver, the travel affects them a little bit. Traveling from the mountain time zone to the East Coast time zone. I'll never take Cross Merritt again. JP, I'll never touch him again. No way. Little Bill, get the fuck out of here. I'm not taking Ja'Cory Cross Merritt anyway. Never. All right, we got the finale here. Giants at the Pats. Once upon a time, this was a titan of a matchup in a couple Super Bowls. 7.5, 7 and a hook. Looks like Jackson Dart is back. The line is, at least on FanDuel, minus 120 for the Giants at plus 7.5, which means it could tip to a flat 7. Brad, sorry, just habitual there. Sia, are you inclined? If you like the Patriots, I think you'd wait to see if it gets to a flat 7. But do you think Jackson Dart gives a little bit of juice to the Giants here? Patriots, are they playing with fire? Like, are they bound to have a letdown? They've let some of these inferior teams hang around, and just because they're so bad, the Patriots ended up winning. Like, at what point does New England maybe slow down a little bit and have some regression to the mean?
Well, to your point, this does feel like a lot of points. I wish we were seeing Jameis Winston again. I think everybody, I speak for everyone when I say that. I think this is too many points. I think New England's a really good team, but I don't think they're the team that everybody thinks they are right now. And I think it's at home. Like Giants in prime time, we've seen them show up.
Yeah,
I feel like this is like a pretty hard-nosed team, and I think 7.5 is too many points.
I think so too. I think I'd be inclined to take the Giants here at 7.5. I just, Jackson Dart being back, it brings up a lot of energy and enthusiasm for this team.
Yeah,
and I get it. New England's played really good, but let's give a fair assessment of the Patriots this year. Fundamentally, they're sound. They don't make a ton of mistakes. Drake May's had a huge sophomore leap, but their schedule's been very favorable. I mean, their 2 big wins this year, going to Tampa and going to Buffalo. And listen, they beat who's on their schedule. That's fair. That's what good teams do. It turns out Buffalo is really not as good as we thought they were. And Tampa Bay, just the injuries have killed them. I'm not taking anything away from New England. Those are still 2 impressive wins, especially on the road. But I don't know, like all year, same kind of thing I had for Indy. Like they're playing really good. But when is that other shoe going to drop? Where it's like, hey, they're playing here. But in reality, they might be here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like the regression to the mean kind of level out a little bit. I mean, they'll probably win this game, but I could definitely see the Giants hang tough here.
Giants have been pretty competitive in most of their games. I mean, Jackson Dart, in fairness, he's probably an upgrade over Jameis Winston at this point. Tyrone Tracy's been running the ball pretty well. I mean, New England historically hasn't been a great running team. Trevion Henderson, I'm looking at props. Trevion Henderson under rushing attempts is something I kind of like here. It's at 15.5 at FanDuel. The under is minus 138, which is pretty juicy. But I think we're going to see more of a split than people think between Trevion and Ramondre. I like the under there. I like the Giants. Tyrone Tracy over rushing attempts, 12.5. I like that too.
What's your feeling on maybe either Wandale or Stephon Diggs?
Well, breaking news: Stephon Diggs' birthday was yesterday, and he's in prime time.
Ooh.
So if you don't think Stephon Diggs is in Drake May's ear every single primetime game, but particularly on his birthday weekend, you don't know Stephon Diggs. So I know that's very narrative shoppy, but I like Stephon Diggs in prime time against this Giants defense. I would look at Diggs overs in receptions and yards.
So to go along with your point there, Giants defense has allowed the third most yards to receivers. They've allowed the fourth most catches to receivers. They've allowed 12 touchdowns to receivers this year. I mean, Dallas, Detroit, Chicago, New England are top four. And then there's a few teams tied at 13. Then there's the Giants at 12. So definitely could get had by some receivers there. Let me ask you, Stephon Diggs' birthday weekend, fine. We can roll with that. Kayshon Boutte? Okay, little Kayshon Boutte, 34.5.
So it's really tough to decipher, especially with Matt Collins kind of getting into the mix over the last 3 weeks since Kayshon Boutte's injury. It's really hard to figure out where Drake May's going to go with the ball. This is another like Buffalo Bills situation where he can pass to just about anybody. I do like Kayshon Boutte's over. I probably like Matt Collins over, but if I like Stephon Diggs over as well, I may as well just put all that money on Drake May's over passing yards because they're not all going to hit. So I'm more focused probably on Drake May there, but I don't think I'm willing to take Boutte's over. What's his receptions prop? It's probably 2.5 or 3.5.
Let me see. Kayshon Boutte's reception prop is 2.5. Juice to the under, minus 166.
See, that's the thing. Like, I just don't think he's going to get a lot of volume. So he's going to have to hit it. Like, I don't know what his longest reception is. I assume it's in that 20 to 21.5 range. I'd almost be inclined to just take that and call it a day. And just maybe he gets 20.5. Yeah, I'd almost be inclined to take the longest reception there and then take Diggs' total receiving yards.
Diggs is 47.5. Are we going to get cute?
I like it.
Are we going to get cute with Stephon Diggs? Maybe ladder him up to like 80 plus 360?
I don't hate it. And I also like Diggs for the first touchdown score of that game.
Sia dropping some wisdom here. Stephon Diggs to score first, plus 650.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not a super fun number, but that's
only on FanDuel. So obviously we could continue to shop around.
Yeah.
All right. So before I let you go, let's me and Brad do this every week. We cook up a parlay. There's a lot of questionable games this week, but we talked about some stuff that we liked for slate here. Parlay wise, what are you feeling?
So are we starting with just like against the spread or like
anything you like?
I like the Jets plus 3. I think we could start there.
Okay. Jets plus 3. How about we double dip here? Because if one loses, chances are they both lose. And like you said, we got the handicap wrong. Same game parlay. Juice the Texans up to 3.5 on the spread, and we take the Colts team total under 24.5. Same game parlay that bitch.
Okay.
Oh, we can't parlay it. What the fuck? Sorry. I don't know why. We can't do it. All right, let me ask you, would you rather take Texans 3.5 or Colts under 24.5? Colts?
Yeah, I would take the Colts under 24.5.
Okay, so that's 240. Now let's say, how about Jacoby Brissett pass yards?
I'm worried about that over because I could see the Bucs slowing this game down with the running game.
They could, but we don't have to go the full thing. We could take it down a little bit.
Yeah, like an alt over.
Maybe like 250.
That's still pretty high, though, is the thing.
We could take it. Or we could pass on that. How about the Rams -10?
Yes.
Yes. Full send.
Yes.
Any props there you would throw in?
If it was anybody, it would be Tet McMillan. What's he at? Low, like 61, high 50s.
I hate throwing Tet McMillan in parlays because it's not him. It's Bryce Young.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
It's 56.5.
That's probably pretty fit. Well, what do you like, that one or Chimray DK over 32.5 receiving?
Throwing DK in a parlay?
Yeah.
See ya. Time to call the hotline, buddy. What are we doing? DK in a parlay.
I like Chimray DK. I think FanDuel has 32.5. That's really low in my opinion.
Let's see what he's at. Titans game. Is that your favorite play in this Titans game?
Yes.
DK. Okay.
Yeah.
DK. Receiving yards, where are you at? Chimray DK's 34.5 on DK.
Oh, 34. Yeah, that sounds right. I thought, yeah, it might have gone up.
That's on DK. All right, so now we're at 11.
On DK. I got you. Yeah.
We're on 11. DK on DK.
Yeah.
All right, 1141 is 4 legs. What do you say we juice up Cleveland to 7.5?
Yeah, I like that. It's a good number.
Get it over the hook.
Just hope Shador doesn't implode. That's all.
See ya. Look at you.
Could take the Titans up to 7.5 too.
Ugh, I don't know. They have.
But I mean, I get not having
potential. They got blowout potential.
That's very true. That's very true. Which would help the DK prop, frankly.
Yeah. Tony Pollard. I'm not throwing Tony Pollard in. Tony Pollard anytime touchdown. J-Pan, come on now, buddy. It's crazy. That's crazy talk. All right, 1859, 5 legs. Maybe we throw one more.
Let's see.
Anything on Seattle? We go Seattle -11. Honestly, I think,
what about the touchdown passes that you like? Over 1.5 touchdown passes.
Well, I'm going to say we could throw both in there. Let's say we throw Darnold 2 tutties. By the way, this is a little insane, but I think it's solid. What if we go lock it in like this? Big dog's got to eat. Colts under 24.5 team total. Jets +3. Maybe, you know what? Let's take Jets 3.5. Let's grab the hook there.
Okay, yeah, sure.
If you're going in a parlay, a little bit of vig, a little bit less of a payout for a better chance of hitting. Let's not get greedy. You got people probably tuning in for the first time for this program. They're like, dude, what is this kid talking about? We're doing just 17 parlays. I know, buddy.
People love this. Is it like, listen, betting is supposed to be fun too. Like you can sprinkle some dollars on fun stuff.
Parlays are like OnlyFans for men. Like OnlyFans for men. Right? Rams -10. DK 34.5 over receiving yards. Cleveland +7.5. Seattle -11.5. Darney 2 tuds passing. Jets +3.5. Seahawks -11.5. Or no, wait, sorry, that was in the same game parlay. So 7 legs pays just under 50 to 1.
I like it.
See, are we locking that in, big dog?
So what were the last two? It was Sam Darnold and what was there something else in Seattle?
There was a little bit of inconsistency on my part. I do apologize. I'll read it off again. Jets +3.5. Darnold 2 pass tutties. Seahawks -11.5. Cleveland +7.5. Chimeri DK 34.5 receiving yards over. Rams -10. Colts team total under 24.5. That on DraftKings, no boost. 7 legs pays out +49.19. So
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What does it pay if you take the 11.5 down to 9.5 in the alt line for Seattle at home against Minnesota?
You want the 9.5 instead?
Yeah, I just want to know what the difference is.
Keep it inside 10. All right. So 49.19 with 11.5.
Right.
And then if we go Seattle at 9.5, 43.37.
That's not too big of a drop. I like being under 10.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's fair. Like the payout's not a huge difference.
Right. 49 to 43.
All right. I think J-Pan wanted me to say it one more time. So listen up, J-Pan and everybody else. Team total under 24.5 for Indy. Rams -10. Chimeri DK over 34.5 receiving yards. Cleveland +7.5. Sam Darnold, 2 touchdowns passing. New York Jets, +3.5. Seattle Seahawks, -9.5.
I like it.
I think that's fair. I might throw 500 on it.
$500?
I'm kidding. I'm not throwing $500. I'm call the hotline.
500 what?
I think that's solid, man.
I don't hate that at all.
What do you say? We're putting it in?
I'll put it in after the show. I'll go ahead and put it in. Yeah.
Yeah, put it in. You got DraftKings or?
Yeah. I have DraftKings, FanDuel, and MGM.
Yeah, build it out. Let me know what it is. I'll Venmo you. What do you think? 25 each?
Sure.
25 pays.
Wait, why would you Venmo? Aren't you putting it in right now?
I'm in Florida. I can't put it in.
Okay. Yeah. I'll put it in for us.
You're stuck with Hard Rock. These odds on Hard Rock would probably be 20-1.
Yeah, that's
The
bad.
shittiest book to ever exist.
Yeah,
We need this monopoly to be dismantled. Yeah, let me see. I mean, I can hit you up after too, but I like.
Don't worry about it. Huh?
I like that too.
It's not bad.
25 each. We're clearing. 25 each pays out, or $25 pays out about 11.10.
Wow.
So $50, double that.
Wow.
What you're gonna eat today? We're eating steak and lobster tonight. All right, just for the purposes of having a little bit more entertainment, because we know if parlays are the only fans for men, then touchdown parlays are like the Playboy Mansion. So let's draft up a little quickie anytime tutty parlay.
Okay.
All right. I think I'm throwing Sam Darnold straight 3 touchdowns. I think I'm going Darnold straight touchdowns. I might empty my 401k for Sam Darnold today. All right. Rams, Panthers. Devontae -1. Devontae's free. Devontae's getting in.
I mean, how much? Yeah, he gets the red zone looks. That's fine.
I mean, it's first and goal from the 1. They're throwing high fades to him.
That's true.
This is premier Mike Evans territory.
At some point, Puka Nacua is going to grab 2 touchdowns, and Devontae's going to be left out in the cold.
Or we could go Kyron. I got to be honest. I don't know if Kyron Williams smashed.
I don't like Kyron.
Wife. I don't know what's going on here. Kyron Williams just barely getting any burns. Blake Corum. What are we doing?
Blake Corum looks a little bit better sometimes, a little bit north-south. But
I have Kyron on my fantasy team. I know a little bit more here. All right, we got an interesting one here. J-Pan putting it on for the boys. Kyron, Bucky Irving, rebound. Ladd McConkey, James Cook. Ooh. I think Bucky Irving to get in solid. He's +185 on the return. The only problem I have with Bucky Irving, he's been out for so long, I don't know what his snaps look like.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get a lot of snaps.
I really have no idea what his snaps look like. Are we going maybe Ibuka? He's been
No, I wouldn't take any receivers for Tampa because we're not 100% sure Baker's playing a full game. I don't like Ibuka. Cade Otton, if anything, if I was going to take somebody, I'd maybe take somebody Teddy Bridgewater could actually connect to as well.
Marvin Harrison's back, but we go maybe Michael Wilson?
No. So there's too many different targets out there with Trey McBride as well. How about Breece Hall? How about Achane? How about Kenneth Walker III?
Breece +145.
It's not bad.
All right. I like Achane. I think Achane's getting in today.
Mm-hmm.
Achane's -140. Not bad.
JSN, you could throw in there.
Woo! Stop it. Love JSN. All right. That is Breece Hall, Achane, and Jackson Smith and Jigba +720. A little light. Maybe Ladd McConkey.
A lot of targets on that team. I like when I'm going to do an anytime touchdown, I like a more condensed target share. I don't hate it.
What about Josh Allen?
No.
No?
Yeah, I'm a no on Josh Allen rushing.
Wow. It's really slim pickings. We gotta get somebody on the Rams Panthers. Puka
or Devontae? Up to you on that one.
Come on. Devontae's been eating, but at some point, Puka's going to have to get in on the action here. He's going to have to ride the tutty train. I do like tutties for Tay. Problem is, if we go Tay, it's going to be Puka. If we go Puka, it's going to be Tay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Trey McBride.
Yeah, I mean, it's still when you add Marvin Harrison into the mix, I don't love. There's too many targets there.
What about Nico?
I don't hate it.
Or we could go a little bit further down the board. I mean, he's been really good. We go Jaden Higgins. Get a little freaky with it.
Yeah.
Would you rather go Higgins?
How about Kenneth Gainwell is screaming at me for some reason. Let's see.
Parlay?
I don't hate Kenneth Gainwell.
Think he's going to get the burn, though, in the red zone?
Yeah, I do.
This is what J-Pan's cooking here. Nakua, McConkey, Cook, Achane.
We could throw in McConkey if you want.
It's risky, but it's touchdown parlay.
Touchdown parlays I'm very less inclined to bet.
Yeah,
the parlay
it's ridiculous.
Because the variance is just ridiculous.
I mean, we got Hall, Achane, and Jigba, and McConkey, 25 to 1.
I don't hate it.
4 legs. We have 2 in the 1 o'clock, 1 in the 4 o'clock, or 2 in the 4 o'clocks. Are you feeling that?
I don't hate it. Yeah. Boom. There you go, Hard Rock.
It's not Hard Rock. It's FanDuel.
Oh, I thought you were putting it. Okay, I got you. I
hate Hard Rock. I can't even get verified on Hard Rock. I don't know why.
That's crazy.
You know what the funny part is? I was at Hard Rock a couple months ago. I was like, hey, I can't get verified on my app. Like, oh, sorry, you have to come back during business hours. Meanwhile, I'm standing at the sports book. I'm like, buddy, how is this not hours? I'm talking to somebody at the sports book. Yeah, we don't handle it here. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just not using you guys. Sia, anything else before we get out of here?
No, I don't think so, man.
Well, buddy, it was an absolute pleasure having you. Definitely gotta come back here
for sure
when the season's over. It was an absolute pleasure having you. Tell everybody where they can find you.
I mean, honestly, I post all my content pretty much, or at least where I'm going to be on Twitter. So if you're looking at this and you're not already following at Sia Nejad on Twitter, that would be the place to find me. But usually you can find me on the Early Edge every Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock in the morning, betting show, and a bunch of other places. I do that Fantasy Football Today DFS show that I was kind of referencing. But at Sia Nejad on Twitter, that's where you can find out where I do all my stuff. A lot of NFL content, a lot of PGA content, and I'm hosting a lot of other different shows as well.
This was a great show, man. Really appreciate you coming on. A lot of insight, a lot of wisdom here. Everybody, really appreciate you joining in today. 715 viewers locked in on this morning's show. So best of luck. Hopefully you guys hit your bets and we delivered you a few winners. Have a great Sunday and we'll see you next week.